Since 2015, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has implemented a number of reforms to the judicial and legal structures. These include the introduction of a second High Court in St. Kitts, the launch of a website for the St. Kitts and Nevis Law Commission, strengthening legal aid, and the construction of an annex at the Sir Lee Llewellyn Moore Judicial and Legal Complex. Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., highlighted that the reforms are in keeping with the government's agenda to enhance the administration of justice.
The glue that holds society together has to be where the rule of law, in which everyone is seen to be subject to rules that govern us. The administration of justice basically makes sure that everyone has the same protections under the law, that everyone is subject to the same rules. No one is above the law.
The fair judicial process was an important factor in St. Kitts and Nevis's high ranking in the World Justice Project Rule of Law Index report of 2019. The Federation was ranked 30th out of 126 countries, number 1 in the OACS, and second in CARICOM behind Barbados, which was 29th.
We have consistently been able to show that in terms of the administration of justice in the country, that everyone has access to justice, everyone is given a fair opportunity to have their matters heard, tried, and adjudicated. And so we are proud that under this administration we have been able to consistently give to our people the confidence that they are living in a society that is just, one in which everyone has that access to justice and can get their grievances settled.
The new court annex mentioned in the opening is situated at East Independence Square Street, next to the Sir Lee Llewellyn Moore Judicial and Legal Complex. The site is historically significant.
We had here, at the heart of Bastia, the old courthouse building that went back for a couple hundred years. And unfortunately it was a wooden building that went up in flames.
Thousands of Gittitians awoke that morning to learn of the tragic fire which resulted in the destruction of the building which housed two of the island's most important institutions, the Supreme Court and the Bastia Public Library. The uncontrollable fire swept through the two-story building, which also housed the judges' chambers, the registry, and the law library. Priceless collections and thousands of vital documents from the year 1700 and onwards, which were kept in the public library, also went up in flames.
The main courthouse building was reconstructed. It began sometime under the PAM administration, began in the early 1990s. We had what was then a modern courthouse that was built, that had one High Court chamber, it had two magistrates' court chambers, and there had been room allocated in that building for a library itself. That never came to fruition. But here we had a new building. Where we are standing here in the annex, in the same complex, had been the electoral office, a one-story short building that was here, but that fell into disuse some time ago. And here was an open space, a space on the complex that begged for some restitution. And so it lent us the opportunity to be innovative and try, as it was, to utilize this space that would then help us to improve the administration of justice, the access to justice. The building, the wonderful building, it enhances the older main High Court building that's here. And so we hope that when it's put to proper use going forward to so many different aspects of our system of justice, that it will improve as we go forward.
Attorney General Byron gave us a tour of the new annex. The building houses a magistrate's court chamber, a law library, and a mediation center. The magistrate's court chamber is the third for District A, which covers the areas of Bastille west to Old Road.
We have determined in the annex, and why the annex became important to us, was for us to be able to have a third magistrates court chamber, and we have determined that this chamber would deal primarily with juvenile matters, mainly because these matters are normally in camera. That is, that there is no gallery for people to come and look on, because these are underage individuals, and therefore the privacy, the confidentiality of these matters would be of paramountcy. And so that's what we say in camera, juvenile matters be here. Other matters that would be held in this third magistrate court chamber in District A would be other types of family matters. And by that I mean maintenance matters, maintenance in terms of where mothers would want to challenge fathers to support their children, and other types of matters.
While all court matters are currently held during weekdays, the thinking is for a more innovative approach in the near future.
The Night Court was a major plan of the Team Unity Manifesto in 2015. It was seen as an important advance in the administration of justice, one, because of the backlog, and if you can extend the day for which matters can be heard in the magistrates court, you can actually have more matters. But also, just as important, there are many people who have to absent themselves from work during the day, maybe lose a day's pay, if they had to attend the court for their claims, either as claimants or as defendants. And also, as importantly, witnesses to matters who may be summoned in criminal matters and others would have to take off time from their jobs to be here all day. We hope that questions of traffic matters, for instance, where people might have to respond to traffic tickets and other types of traffic infringements, can be dealt in a night court. I hasten to add that while we have this chamber here, this is not necessarily a night court chamber, because all three magistrates in District A will be participating initially in that process. And as we come online and on stream over the next few weeks, we'll find that we will have maybe initially, each magistrate will do maybe one night per week. So you'll have actually 3 nights will be scheduled in the different courts and the complex during that period.
As a modern building, the annex is equipped with many technological tools. This includes the sophisticated closed-circuit camera system. The cameras provide surveillance of the interior and exterior of the building to ensure there are no breaches of security. They are also designed to permit virtual participation in court proceedings, particularly important in a world where physical distancing is the new norm.
Those who may be remanded at the prison, those who may do appeals in the prison, can actually access the court by Zoom rather than having to bring them to the courts. So these are things that we are doing. You note in these buildings all have security cameras, but we also would have screens where the judge, litigants, attorneys can see people who may not be present in the court at that point in time for us to conduct the business of the court. So it is exciting, it's important as we move forward. We do not know how long COVID-19 will be with us, but in our response to that, we have utilized the technology that's available to us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we are proud of the fact that we have done some very important infrastructure developments in our country that makes us one of the best, if not the best, definitely in the OECS, maybe in the region, in terms of our technology and how we have advanced that.
Offices, bathrooms, a kitchenette, and a security station are also situated on the ground floor. The Attorney General then took us upstairs and spoke about the law library, which has a special symbolism.
The library will be housed on the similar compound that the Bastia Public Library once was housed. When the courthouse was burned down, the Bastia Public Library was also burned down as well. And hundreds, thousands of books and documents went up in smoke at that time. The law library is dedicated to practitioners, attorneys. It's dedicated to litigants in person. I don't have a lawyer, but I can go to the library and maybe do some research and look up cases. It's for students at the college who may be studying law, or students who may not be at the college but doing overseas subjects regarding law. Can all come here, and it's for the general public as well, can all come here and utilize the functions of this library. The library will not be one where you can borrow and take away stuff. We don't have that type of volume, but it can be used here. We are in the process of engaging a qualified librarian with experience working in law libraries, and we expect that person to be in place within a few weeks.
Some 364 law books have already been sourced for the law library, with the assistance of Professor Velma Newton, Regional Director of the Impact Justice Project, which is funded by the Government of Canada.
What is also very exciting about this library, however, is that we will have online search engines. Such search engines as Nexus will be able to be accessed here through computers, where you can get cases from anywhere in the world, where you can get cases from the region, the English cases, Canadian, Australian cases in Commonwealth jurisdictions can be had. So LexisNexis, we expect justice to be here, and we are still considering where we have other search engines such as Westlaw and so on. But it allows us to have where you can come and through electronic databases be able to have access to legal volumes that can assist in the preparation of cases. You want to be able to get assistance if you have a dispute. You might have a dispute with a neighbor, you may have a dispute at work, and you need assistance. We expect that the person who will be the librarian here will be able to give advice and assist, as we do have other agencies within the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs. There's the Legal Aid and Advice Center that's headed by Director Alethea Gums. She has an attorney working with her, Creos Freeman, and so they can also give assistance, as can other attorneys. But here you have the actual precedents, similar cases like yours, and if you are guided how to see how to solve, to resolve disputes, that's what this is. It helps to enhance that access to justice and makes our society fairer, more equitable. It's not just the preserve of a few stuffed shirts attorneys, but whose advice often is very critical. And we would want individuals to not feel that they should not utilize the services of attorneys, because they need guidance, they need advice from trained personnel. But there are those who will come here, and it will help our society improve considerably.
The third section of the annex is dedicated to finding peaceful resolutions between parties without matters going to trial.
Court-connected mediation is a form of alternative dispute resolution to problems that people may have in civil matters. It is important because it saves time. If you have a court case, a civil case, sometimes there can be drawn out with the filing of different documents and preliminary hearings, and it can be extensive. So if you have an alternative dispute resolution, mediation process, you can agree with the person on the opposite side to settle the matter. Give up something to get it out of the court quickly. So it saves time. It also can save money as well, and can help with relationships in the community that you don't really want to fall out with a family member or friends or whatever it is. So mediation does that. Some people still require their day in court, and they therefore need to explore it if they can, but ultimately they would want maybe the judge to determine what the outcome is. What we have provided here is the facility to increase the amount of opportunities people have to settle disputes in a mediation form.
With the additional space now available, legal officials are hoping for a spin-off effect.
Now we can have mediation every day, all day, because not only have we provided additional rooms for this to happen, but we have had the support of the court to train a lot more people in court-connected mediation. And it's open to professionals and individuals of all ilk, so that you might have an engineer, you might have a banker, you might have a teacher, a public servant who can apply and be trained as a mediator and have their names put on a roster. What it means is, as a litigant, somebody who has a dispute, I can come and say that I want Ian to mediate this matter for me, and if the other person agrees, we go and we ask Ian to help us to look at the different issues that divide us. We would have trained 25 mediators. This would have been in 2019. And very interestingly, we actually had attending that training session, the Chief Justice himself came for the week training, as did the Chief Justice of Barbados, who came and sat in on this training. It is something that courts are looking at and are hoping can help us to settle our disputes. We expect to have another 25 trained within a few weeks.
Attorney General Byron Jr. concluded our tour by commending the persons who designed and constructed the new annex, noting that it is fit for purpose.
Bertele Dane of BC Odanes and Associates has done an exceptional job, because when we first began speaking about this, very few people envisaged could see what has already come out here. And the workmanship has been exemplary. We hear that Public Works are saying it is the best project that they've done in St. Kitts, because it's designed, once you're in it, seems relatively simple. But we are talking about taking an old building and enhancing it and lifting it up, and a space that did not seem could hold it, to be able to have that. I should also mention that the initial working with us in trying to determine what we want was done by Brian Sergio, the architect at Public Works, who did the initial design work, and he did an exceptional job himself and needs to be commended as well. Mr. Dane has, all during COVID, has worked on it and has produced a building that we all should be proud of. And it's one in which we feel very, very good. And it's the type of public buildings that we need to establish ourselves as a modern, small, modern, young democracy.